desafiando a los dioses. Con intensidad luchemos, no te rindas aun si perdemos, más fuerte será.
Well, I've heard a bunch of things. Not only that, I heard somebody talking crap. You know who you are. And I'm glad you said this. Because now me and my buddy over here named Diomedes Rouge. I always keep messing that up, but Patrick Thornhill, if you have heard of him. Yeah, Dylan, we're going to, we got something surprise for you. The threats, the insults, not only that, the lies that you said so many freaking times. Oh boy, I was so happy when you said all that stuff. Not only that, I was going to be okay with the lies. Because in the very end, you're not a very honest person. Not only that, you covered yourself in more lies. Not only that, the fact that you called Patrick stuff, you called me stuff. Yeah, pretty much we're gonna screw you up now. Well, we're not gonna beat you up because that would be... We don't want to get our hands dirty with scum. And now you're talking with an Italian. But that's pretty much right now what I'm going to say. Now, what is up, you guys? It's the Fallout with here. And today, I'm going to be doing... What if Deku was raised by Spawn? Part 2. Now, where I last left off, Izuku lost his family. Oh no, he's about to lose his family once again. Or is he? Well, basically, what happens is basically Izuku saw that he was in the past again, or in the future, due to the fact that he was raised for most of his life, for most of the life that he had back then in Camelot. I kind of screwed up. But now the fact is, he is back into the past, which is the future, which is somewhat screwing up with Deku's head. So, Izuku, finding out that he's not strong, he's not tall, he's not with his crew, and most importantly, he's not with the person who has raised him, which is screwing up his mentality. All Izuku is doing right now is crying because he lost somebody he cared about. He didn't know what to do. Deep down inside, he doesn't feel happy, and he just wants to see if this would work again. But this is when Izuku just makes a deal with the devil in another realm. And Izuku tells them, he tells them, please, bring me back Spawn. And the devil just said, well, a demon just says, yeah, we're not going to do that. And this is when Izuku says, but I thought you guys could do anything. And this is when basically they say, let's see, basically, how should I say this? Izuku talks about, he talks to the devil about, or the demon, mostly about him being, him giving up his soul for all that stuff. And this is when the demon says, we are sorry, but we cannot do that. However, the fact that you have called upon us has technically given us all free range of your soul. But we're not going to devour your soul Because it's too childlike. It's pure. We do not like that stuff. So we need this stuff to be as negative as it could be. And basically the demons grab onto him. Sink him into the pits of hell. Where they just start torturing poor Izuku. And now it's just like clockwork again. But this time Izuku has messed up big time. Not only is Spawn not there, Spawn is still in Camelot, where he does not know why he cannot teleport anywhere else. He thinks that this is probably a permanent situation, but is not giving up hope just yet. And when that happened, Izuku just kept getting tortured. He kept getting he was just being gutted. Knives were all taken upon themselves to Izuku's flesh. And basically, it tears. Not only that, he regenerates due to the fact that they gave him a special little ability to regenerate every couple of seconds. So that way, the torture can keep going on. They wouldn't just do that. But no, that would be silly of me. Now, you don't think that being tortured is such a bad thing. There are worse fates than death. There are worse fates than death. Sorry for the screw up, but yeah, pretty much Izuku is just being beaten, stabbed, burned, frozen, somewhat electrocuted, all at the same time. And Izuku, for the next 10 years, let's say, since Izuku's 4 and all that stuff, I don't know what to do. I think he's 4 for the past 7 years or so. Izuku has been tortured. Now, he's gotten stronger. He's able to predict he's able to predict how they attack him, how they attack each other's, because they love taking turns with this man. Izuku is just seeing every time what they can do, but the fact that his heart is pure in a way. But at the same time, they know that this kid will be broken, because this kid's been broken mentally, but he hasn't been broken in his soul. And that fire burning in his eyes, because he's felt pain like this before, whenever he was tired, whenever he was Spawn, he remembered all that time. He remembered the pain. He remembered the tragedies. He remembered the people that he grew up with dying. He remembered the times that he had to fight all of them and kill them because they were turning. That is the thing, when they die, they turn into devils, demons, and all that stuff. Izuku had to do it all. And all because he was the king. And now, these demons treat him as like if he was a peasant. They treat him as if he was a peasant. Which, in this term, he technically is. Izuku does not know what to do, but he knows that he has to break. He knows he has to break out. He knows he has to be free. And this is when basically they keep taking bits of his soul and replacing it with demonic hatred. Oh, and Izuku got the hatred alright. He's gotten his fair share of hatred. He hates everything. The fact that his parents are dead. The fact that he's tortured for no good reason. The fact that he was a king who had to kill a bunch of his servants and his knights because they were turned. And all because he was weak. And that same weakness is what drove Izuku into madness. drove him into pure hatred, and that's the fact that he is turning into something else. A vengeful spirit, yes. Ghost Rider, no. Someone who is powerful enough, who took on demons before, and has killed them with fire. Spawn, no. I decided that the fact that I've done a what if, and I haven't done it as for a very long time, which will get its redo. Why? Yes, because I'm forgetful. But it's mostly the fact that sometimes there are better things that you can do in life. And what Izuku turns into, give me a second here, people. So, basically, Izuku is Scorpion now. And after being in hell for so long, he has technically demonic blood and also hell powers, such as teleportation, much more strength. And when I mean strength, I mean maximum strength that he has. He's able to carry up to 10 men. And when I mean 10 men, I mean technically all of them are 200 pounds. So 10 times 2, 20,000 pounds. So basically a crap ton. Not only that, combat, he is much more stronger in combat after seeing how a lot of these demons over the years have just fought each other. And Izuku knows that there's always weak points to all of them. He knows that he now has to find a weak point. And he's good at that. He is very keen into understanding how they all fight, how weak they all are. Because all demons are different. But most times than not, they are the same. So, Izuku, just getting fed up, was always kept pulling onto the chains that kept binding him. And not only that, blood always keeps pouring off of him, but this is when he basically bites off his own tongue, because he has regenerative powers. And oh, they have given him the power of leaving. They have given them the key to the victor. They given him the key to victory. And the fact of the matter is, basically Izuku grabs the blood and he kept spitting on it, taking off one of his hands, and after that doing the exact same thing with his other hands. And after that, he is basically on the leaning all the way into the ground. But knowing the fact that he's gotten always stronger is the fact that he just somewhat takes the shackles off of his legs while doing the same process. While all of them are always just... There was a specific time when they all stopped, and that was when it was feeding time. And, oh yes, there's always one weakling that always just somewhat pops in every now and then that just always wants to still attack him. Just because it was fun for them. And now it's not, because Izuku just grabs him and just takes off his freaking head. Not only that, he just speared him. When I mean spear, I mean grabbing his fist, turning it into his hands, and then pushing so hard in the fast, very fast indeed, to the point where the demon basically died in a matter of seconds. Not only that, Izuku saw that there was a bunch more demons, and Izuku said, "Bring it on. I'm not afraid to take you all on. Hell, I'll take on all of you." And he just starts with the onslaught, just taking them all off, decapitations, breaking their legs. Not only that, twisting off their heads, doing everything to secure victory, grabbing a hold of weapons. Not only that, just slashing at all of them, because he knows one thing's for sure: he is not going to leave without having some blood on his hands. And it's going to be the blood of the torturers that did all this to him for years. Now, 2 months have passed in hell. When I mean 2 months have passed, technically, basically 2 years have passed. Because Izuku is basically... Let's say this, Bakugo is 6 while Izuku is 10. And basically, Izuku has just been getting stronger and stronger. And that's the reason why he kept fighting all these demons. Because if there's one thing he knows, is that when he takes their soul, he at least is granted much more strength, but much more healing, much more of everything. Kind of like Doom, how he just tears off everything and just grabs the ammo, grabs health, grabs shields. Basically, this is what Izuku is. Izuku is their Doom Slayer, but in a powerfuler form. He is basically the Scorpion, and he has heard about the Scorpion, because in Japan, Scorpion was an actual thing. But, the fact being, it was just rumored. It was a legend. So Izuku's now going to become something else. And yes, I understand. I said he was King Arthur. He had Excalibur that was looking like Ichigo's sword. Not only that, the fact that he was Spawn and also had gained abilities from the God of War. I did say all that. But I never said he wasn't going to go further into hell. Because the thing is, this whole anime wasn't just about Spawn. It was about destroying hell itself and creating a paradise. For what? Well, basically a paradise, so that way hell can no longer exist, which means the damned souls are no longer existed. And if they are reincarnated, he will be there to make sure if they do become evil again, this man will destroy them. He will torture them if that means him living on without having this world go to hell. So that way the heroes and the villains won't kill his parents, but he feels like they already did, and it was actually true. Bakugo's mom did call them, but the fact being that when they tried to answer the phone dropped, and Inko was trying to grab it. But the fact being that Hisashi was helping her out because basically he couldn't find a thing. He couldn't find the phone, so they just kept going at it, grabbing the phone, but they could never find it. And that's when they did not notice the heroes and the villains were there. And it only took a matter of seconds until they heard it. Freaking Hisashi just got up, and he saw, and he tried to turn, but he couldn't. And that's when basically the onslaught happened, and they still died. And Izuku knows this. Why? Because he was actually killing a demon, and he saw their past. And basically these two demons, well, technically there was one, and there was another one that was always with them. So when Izuku just grabbed the other one, he says, "Do you know this guy?" And the demon said yes, and he said, "You were the same guys that killed my parents." And he said, "What parents?" And Izuku said, "The ones that were in the car. And you were fighting heroes." And that guy said, "Yeah, so what of it?" And Izuku just grabbed him, put spearheads, kunai with chain, whatever you want to call it. Izuku just charged fire all over the demon, and he kept saying that it's not going to hurt as much. And this is when Izuku just kept stabbing him and torturing him, just biting everything off, being a cannibal, and just killing this demon with just his teeth. And Izuku got up, and he basically said that there were fates worse than death, and now there's a fate for you. When I'm done with this world, there'll be a fate worse than hell. And Izuku just got out of basically hell, because he knows that the world needs saving, and Izuku is going to be their savior. Now, 2 months have passed again. So, technically, how would I say this? Time somewhat screwed up and then reverted itself again. So basically 2 years would have been 20 or technically 40 something years. He basically would have been in the future for very fast. But I decided that Izuku was tortured for 7 years, but then time started to actually go back the way it was, since Izuku's spawn powers were there. But then they basically shifted how the world was working, so time slowed down a crap ton, and Izuku just got back up, and now he just goes home. This time, he knows that he's going to protect them. Or, how should I call it? He knows that the world's changed a bit. The number one hero is still All Might, but other heroes are not the same. Izuku saw that the world is still the same, yet it changed. It hasn't changed with him. It changed slower than him. And when he saw Mitsuki and Bakugo, and Izuku's 11 at this time, he basically walked up to Mitsuki and he said, "Hey, Auntie." And this is when Mitsuki said, who are you?" And this is when he says, "I'm Izuku." And this is when Mitsuki says, "Do not lie. That kind child is gone. I do not know who you are or what's with the getup, but I just want you to leave." And this is when basically Bakugo ran because she heard Izuku's name. And this is when it basically says, "Where's Izuku? Where's Deku?" Mitsuki says, "This guy is just a fake. Don't worry, sweetie." Bakugo tears up, and Izuku says that I am Izuku. Is there any way for me to prove it? And this is when basically Mitsuki says, "Yes. There's one way to prove it, but you won't be able to prove it at all. Since you're not him, I'll give you a chance. Just so that way you can just get the heck out of here." And Izuku just says, "I'll take that chance, if it means me proving who I really am." And Mitsuki says, "Alright, fine. I want you to tell me what Izuku got when he was 3. And Izuku says, "An All Might plushie that wasn't signed by All Might, but that was signed by a different hero that was at least high up." Mitsuki was taking a bit of a shock. And this is when she says, "Alright. What was his favorite food?" Izuku said, "Spaghetti with chicken." And she's a little more terrified, because with this guy, technically Izuku looks older. He's 11, but she is terrified of the fact that that is possible. She thinks that that's impossible, because her precious Izuku, the person who she has to take care of, knowing the fact that Mitsuki died, Inko died, and after telling Izuku for a long time that she would talk to them. And this is when Izuku says, "Not only that, I know that I slept next by Bakugo." Or, he doesn't say that. He says, "I know I slept next by Kachan. And she usually would tell me to turn up the lights because I would be sleepy. And she was scared of the dark." And Mitsuki would start tearing up. Bakugo would start tearing up. These two... Hold on here. Sorry about that. Bakugo and Mitsuki will start tearing up, and they start to hug Izuku. And Izuku is feeling this warmth that hell itself can never fill. And that's because his mind was broken, his heart was broken. Everything about him was torn up. He was too depressed. He was scared that if he were to be there, Mitsuki and Bakugo would think that he was a demon, that they would shun him away, because there is no way that this could have been true. But Izuku just tells them how much he misses them. And where's the father in all this? Well, time changed, but Izuku's going back to the past means that a little bit of alterations were changed, such as, well, Bakugo was actually 6 in this one, but now she's 7, which means Izuku and her are just differented by technically a 4-year span. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 4 year. You know what? Let's say she's 8. So basically, that all happens, and Izuku has spent basically technically 8 years to do all this stuff. Basically, time changed a lot due to all this kind of stuff, and basically, the father died due to the fact that he was there too, because they were also in a bit. He was helping out since Hisashi and Hiyashi, which is very weird to say, are basically Hiyashi, basically Bakugo's dad, was friends with Izuku's dad. Mitsuki was friends with Inko, but since she wanted to take care of the kids and let them, deal with the family issues, since Bakugo's dad is technically helping them with financial and different things, he died in the process. So the fact that they lost Izuku really hurt them, because they thought, well, wow, they at least have him. But the fact that in their timeline, it was told that he died due to being missing and due to there being a lot of blood, which was tested to be Izuku's DNA. So they thought that he was just dead. So Bakugo was there always praying to God, to a god at least, saying that she would pray for Izuku to come back. And she got her wish. This is when Izuku just spends the next couple of months redoing everything, knowing where everything was at, talking with Bakugo, and most times than not, he would basically sleep next by her. Mitsuki would allow it due to the fact that she knows that Izuku's such a kind kid. There was times where she thought that Izuku was someone else, and that was during the times where basically she saw that Izuku was around in the grocery store, grabbing vegetables, grabbing pieces of meat and all that stuff, saying that he will pay for it. Mitsuki saying that she wouldn't allow this. Izuku came back. They should celebrate. Izuku should have anything he wants for at least the small amount of a budget that they had. But Izuku was in tournaments. And what tournaments? Not the Mortal Kombat ones, because I know you guys wanted that. But the fact being that he was in tournaments due to the fact... Sheesh, I keep saying that much. But because of Izuku being a little bit more older and looking a little bit more older, Izuku just said that this is his quirk and such, and he's fought. Because he wasn't there during the year. Like for not a year, for a couple of months. So he had to think of like places to go to get money, because he knows that he's a bit more older and he needs to help out. And the fact being that he knew that something was wrong, time had changed. Oh, sheesh. Give me a second here, people. Oh, sorry about that. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. So, Izuku being over there, talking about everything that went down. Izuku training and all that stuff actually had more money. Let's say he only comes up with $1,000. That $1,000 they didn't have. They always needed a bit more money because they had to go buy. Hiyashi, well, basically Bakugo's dad, didn't make that much. Was making money, and since he was gone, they didn't have nothing. But Izuku being there helped them out, which Bakugo's mom, Mitsuki's always grateful for. But she doesn't know how he comes up with the money. Not only that, what are all those scars? That's what she's thinking. And looking at them, Izuku had these scars for a very long time, due to the fact that even though he has regeneration, that does not excuse his scars. He's been cut down by so many times that regenerating isn't always as effective. Yes, the wound will be closed, but you're always going to be seen with that scar. Not only that, when somebody was robbing the bank, let's just say the bank, because let's say a grocery store. When basically the bank was being robbed, the store was being robbed, Izuku told Mitsuki to duck down with Bakugo, and basically he was just running over there right behind the guy and just does a judo flip, grabbing him, and not only that, just grabbing a knife that was out of his pocket and sticks it near his the guy's freaking throat and says, "If you move one more inch or try to pull the trigger, I will make sure that you will have to eat through another hole." And this is when the guy just says nothing. He just is scared. Purely scared and all that stuff. So, Izuku just says, "What is your option? What options do you have right now?" You have two. And basically Mitsuki is scared, but she's amazed on how Izuku just did all that. Not only that, with such precision, such power, and such authority. She does not know the Izuku, but she knows that if this is the actual Izuku, which she sometimes contemplates over her head, she knows one thing's for sure. Izuku is someone who is destined for some greatness. And Izuku just usually spends his time training. Not only that, he has fought demons before that sometimes comes out of the world. One of which is technically muscular. He's a demon in disguise. The muscle deformation is just the cover-up. His actual quirk is basically muscular spikes, which is a quirk mixed in to a human, because Muscular was an actual everyday worker who for some reason had a bad attitude, but nothing worse, due to the demon just somewhat fusing within him, creating this new form of Muscular that was sinister. Izuku just took care of him. He was beaten a lot, attacked and hurt, but that did not mean that Izuku did not attack with ferocity. Izuku slayed Muscular, not only that, decapitating him, saying, "Get over here!" Not only that, using different weapons, like his freaking blade. So, while doing all that stuff, he just started to go and kill a bunch of villains. Every day, he would just take money out of their wallets and leave a calling card. A little picture. Well, not only that, he will basically burn his hand and steam it. Or not steam it, but braise it. Just sticking his hand and touching the skin, burning the skin alive, which would leave a hand. And they call him the Burning Man. They call him basically Fireman. Different kinds of words. But they know there's one thing that this guy has in common. It's his kunai and chain. It's the fact that he said, "Get over here." Just like the legendary Scorpion. But that was never a real person, was it? Well, Basically, once Izuku turned 13, he went to school. Bakugo was in middle school already. You know, Bakugo went to middle school and all that stuff. So, yeah, pretty much that all happened. And, yeah, since Izuku's... no, hold on here. Basically, she's not in elementary anymore, but she is in middle school. So, pretty much, Izuku is going to actually help out due to him being brought up, and not only that, applied for for a governmental job. Be it that he will be the one who would take care of bad guys who would actually kill, and since he would be approved by the government, he will be nicknamed Scorpion, since the way he looks and acts, not only that, his way of honor and his bloodlust, and not only that, the power that he also has, would give him the title of a Scorpion. And basically, heroes can't actually touch him or do like anything to him, because they know that Izuku is within his rights to protect themselves. He could technically kill them for suspicion of actually betraying the government or doing actual crimes, and using the government's money and all that stuff to using the government to pay them for fake stuff. Izuku could do that, in all honesty, but he doesn't care. All he does is watch over Bakugo and watch over Mitsuki, because he knows that he does not want to lose these two. Now, when that all happens, Mitsuki always gets approached by guys, and guys that are pretty much scumbags. And Izuku just makes quick work of them, telling Mitsuki that, is she okay? And all that stuff. And Mitsuki just says that, oh, I'm alright. Is my daughter doing okay? And he says that Kachan is doing alright. Don't worry about this. I'll take care of you both. And she says, oh, you flatter me. And yeah, pretty much that all happens. And let's see. Oh yeah. Izuku does go to school still. And yes, he is technically not a hero, because he doesn't care about the hero course. He just cares about just finishing school. And by technicality, he goes to high school, and he is in high school, and Bakugo was in elementary, so yeah, that makes actual sense. So he's in high school, Bakugo's in middle school, and Izuku just does all his schoolwork, protecting different people, and actually talking with another person, such as Toya, or quote-unquote Dabi. And I'm going to lower down his age just a bit so that way he can talk with him. Dabi always gets mad at the fact that he always has to fight with Endeavor, and Endeavor doesn't actually care about him. And all, he does care about him, but he just is a little more on the brutish side to actually do anything. But this is when Izuku just says, do not fear one day. Do not fear for the fact that your father loves you enough to actually put work into you, put ethics into you. So the fact that you won't actually be a failure in life. He at least cares about you enough to do that. At least you have a father who's still alive. I don't. So don't cry about it. Just be glad about the other things. As cruel as he may be, I've seen cruel things before. And that's nothing more than just a cakewalk. So, Izuku does all that. And Izuku just says nothing much. But he does say this. Oh, and Toya, if you ever want to join me in a fight, I'll be honored. And this is when Toya is still going to be a villain, but he changes a little bit more. He somewhat works on fire techniques and learning a way how to not always burn himself, thus not always getting the black fire well, does getting blue fire, but at a point where he doesn't have the scars and he doesn't look like a zombie. Now, he does help out freaking, no, wait. Yeah, he helps out with, freaking, what's her face? Wow, sheesh. He does help out with, oh man, I forgot her face. Toga. But he helps her out by just eliminating the two people who were doing stuff to her and trying to get their way. And basically he just says, do not try to think that your quirk is such a burden. I heard what they were saying, and I know deep down inside that it must anger you. It must upset you because the fact that you love blood, I always smell it. I smell it on you. But you don't cause true harm to them just because. You do it because it's a part of you, which you have no control over. And basically, he talks with her for a while, and basically gets her to be obsessed, but in the same time, be limited. Be humble about her blood, and how she feels about blood. Because Izuku cares about people. Humanity has never left him. It's his hatred for demons and creatures that will hurt other humans. That's what he has a problem with. That is what the actual world in his mind is. And believe me, this world is just getting started. Because for every time something like this happens, he changes into something. And believe me when I say that he's going to combine all of that he had with different things. So I am not going to be as worried as you guys think. Now, what Izuku does do is just hold her and tell her that everything will be alright. And if he wants, he can just supply her with his blood. Because his blood would be satisfying enough. She said she doesn't know about that because she is very choosy and very picky. Not only that, sometimes she gets a little bit hasty and drinks blood, but Izuku says, believe me, this will be enough. And all he does is just cut down a little tiny drop. And he says, I know what you're thinking. And basically, she just says, it's just a drop. And he says, I know it's just a drop. But when I say this thing will fill up your stomach a lot, this will fill up your stomach. Because Izuku's been bitten by different monsters, such as vampires, lichens, and such. Mythical creatures. And he does not get affected by this blood, by being bitten and all that stuff. And it fills up the lichens and it fills up vampires pretty well when they try to attack him. And they just become normal instead of feral. So, she basically just absorbs it or licks it. And she feels very satisfied, full. And she just licks it again because she does not want to waste any drop of it. And basically, it looks kind of wrong due to the fact that she is basically blushing and all that stuff. She is just breathing heavily. Not only that, the fact being that her eyes are heart-shaped eyes. So yeah, pretty much Izuku's just a little blushy and all that stuff and saying, yeah, so, there's my blood and all that stuff. So please, believe me. You'll know where I'm at. I'm usually close by here. And he says he will be here every time, this certain point in time, and just helping out anybody that he needs to. So, what else happens is basically Izuku just talks with different people, Bakugo, not only that, he's almost going to graduate, and Bakugo is already in school, and he's in UA, but he's basically just doing all these things. And while he was they did recommend him to be in the Class 1A. They did test out Izuku's abilities, and the fact that he uses fire and different kinds of techniques with weapons, just destroying demons one after the other. Yeah, this pretty much sets Izuku up for a lot of fatalities. So, Izuku just... how would I say this? Izuku just... yeah, pretty much got first place. He could have just gone to Class 1A. He already fought the big three. They were no problem to him because they were starting out. The fact being that he's technically their senior. Mirio talks with freaking Izuku. Not only that, having Koda and Eri to talk to all the time. Technically, Eri is adopted by Izuku because Izuku took down Overhaul. After he found out what was happening, and after sensing someone who's so innocent in a den of pure black souls, well, not pure black, but souls that are dark, Izuku was suspicious. Knowing the age of this child, the fact that it was a child caused so much suspicion. He just teleported there, and he saw what happened, killing a lot of people instantly. Not only that, this was during the time where Overhaul already took care of everybody, killing a lot of them. Not only that, killing freaking almost killing Chisake when Chisake begged him to at least let him heal freaking the old man, which he has done. And Izuku just says, "Good, face your punishment," and just cuts off his hands, basically no longer having the ability to do anything. But he burned it up in charcoal, which means that Chisake's one arm, because he decided to be nice. Eri was just being tested for a while, not for most of her childhood life. Well, she technically was tested for a very long time. But Izuku knows that he wouldn't have done that because he respects her. And he does not want to show her the hell that he can do. So, Izuku, seeing that Eri is going to be with him, Bakugo always clinging on to Izuku because she does not ever want him to leave. Those 2 years for her were pure torture. Always crying about Izuku, and now that the fact that she's with him, she's not going to let go, and neither is Mitsuki. These two love Izuku with all their hearts. They would do anything for him if he said something. If he told them to kill themselves, they would probably do that. They don't worship him like a god, but they will. He's pretty much a deity, someone who they will never how would I say this? These two are the kinds of people that will never leave Izuku. They wholeheartedly love him. They will protect him with all their life. And basically, probably have a little bit of razzle-dazzle there. Do a couple of ships. Yeah. Bonding time with the family, people. Oh boy, that's so wrong. But when Bakugo got, to be not first place. Well, technically, yeah, she's in first place in Class 1A. Izuku is proud of her. Not only that, Izuku is always called Papa from Eri, Big Sis from Bakugo, and auntie for Mitsuki. Not only that, Izuku has talked with Koda because he's with different people. And the demon that killed Koda's parents, they could have actually taken him on and actually beat him, possibly with both of them fighting at max capacity with Muscular. But the fact being that Muscular was a demon gives it much more leeway for them to die. And Izuku was just very sad for this young man. And he says, who does he live with? And Koda says that he lives with these people. And basically, Izuku did offer him to come live with him. And Koda said no. And Izuku said, alright. But Koda does give out his reasoning because he still cares about his family. And one day he would probably want to be trained by him. And Izuku said, okay, I will train with you. Now, while this was all happening, Hell is losing a lot of its soldiers. It's losing a lot of it. It was losing soldiers. So Izuku is just saying, well, that's pretty much it for me. And this is when now Izuku is 20. 20 and going out with Bakugo. Not only that, doing a little bit of side-to-side action with Mitsuki. These two are going out because Bakugo is technically a new hero, and Izuku is known as the Scorpion. The government's number one in combat. The person who will protect their country and go to the front lines if he has to. And their technical number one hero, but the number one hero for the Hero Society is All Might, which in fact has been given the quirk to Bakugo. So Izuku is going out with her. They're settling with each other. Not only that, they're possibly about to have a kid. So is Mitsuki, but you know, we don't know who the father is. Phew, we don't know who that person is. And yes, Izuku has fought All for One and destroyed him, killed him, took in his power with his demonic magic, and given all the quirks to the people who don't have it anymore. Well, they were grateful to the hero, the Scorpion. And not only that, he regained Spawn's power. He regained that Spawn power that he had a long time ago. And he's wondering why. And Izuku just sees a portal. A portal to a new world. To a new dimension. Izuku knows that he is scared of the fact that he might have to leave Bakugo. The fact being that this world still needs someone to protect the worlds. Spawn did it. Other spawns did it. And now it's Izuku's turn. What will this story turn into? We'll find out next time, alright, you guys? Now, I'm going to say this because I'm going to leave it off. Because I saw Dylan Breeden's video, I now know that he's been lying. He's lied to you guys. If you guys are subscribed to him, you guys will find out a lot of lies that came out of his mouth. Me and Diomedes Rouge will talk about this soon. Because there's one thing I don't like, it's being lied to. Well, that, and not only that, someone taking the rest of my food. But the fact is that you're lying to slander my name. The name that I worked so hard for. That you said that I was too nice. Well, if you want me not to be nice, You're going to regret that. Oh boy. And the plans that we, technically me and Patrick, have for you. And as for Scum, we're gonna have to give you a deep power wash, my old friend. Now, I'm sorry for that, but like I say usually, like, comment, do subscribe to the channel here, people. This has been the Fallout What If here. Bye.